this section that we are going to start here. It's an animal physiology. This is the nutrition, digestion and energy generation that we are going to complete probably in this class. We'll try. Fine, we'll try. So it's a nutrition, digestion and energy generation. Nutrition, digestion and energy generation. Right. So listen, when we talk about nutrition, it means we are talking about food, and ultimate purpose of the food is energy, and this energy is required for growth, development and metabolism. Growth, development and metabolism. Right? So this energy, fine. Are you getting my instruction properly? From my side, signal is okay. I can see the signal. Do it fast. So here, coming back to this discussion, okay, right. Coming back to this discussion, see. So the ultimate purpose of the food is what? Just to provide energy, and this energy is required for the growth, development and metabolic activities, right? So see here, when we talk about this energy, the average energy this average energy, it is 2000 kilocalorie to 2500 kilocalorie. This is the average energy requirement. This is average energy requirement on daily basis. This is the average energy requirement on daily basis, right? And if someone is going to have less than 1000 kilocalorie of energy per day, so here this result will be malnutrition. This result will be malnutrition. Yes, fine. So if someone is not going to have, someone means here the intention of the someone is what? The intention of the someone is what? Here the intention of the someone is what? If someone is not able to get less than 1000 kilocalorie per day, so that leads to the malnutrition, and here we are simply considering about this malnutrition, especially in the case of pregnant, especially in the case of pregnant women and developing children. Right. So if the average energy, normal energy requirement is 2000 to 2500 kilocalorie per day, this is also variable. In the case of bodybuilders, they are supposed to have more amount of energy. It means they are supposed to have more amount of energy. In the case of old man and old fellows, so they are supposed to have a less amount of energy just because of the stationary lifestyles. So here the point is that we are talking about we are talking about the energy required for the adult, for the active adult. This is the average energy requirement, and if this energy requirement is less than 1000 kilocalorie per day, so that is the condition of the malnutrition. That is the condition of malnutrition, and this malnutrition is, we could see the negative impact of the malnutrition, especially in the case of the pregnant women and developing child. Yeah, everyone is getting, listen, Siddhant, everyone is getting my reception properly. Right? Fine. So even see, if this energy requirement is less than 1000 kilocalorie per day, so that results, especially in the case of pregnant women and children, so the result is what? It's a malnutrition. Fine. And if someone is going to have more than, if daily consumption is more than required, if daily consumption is more than required, if daily consumption is more than what is required, so the result is what? The result is lifestyle disease. Lifestyle disease. So here we need to consider, in the present scenario, we need to consider two different approaches. One is the consequence of the malnutrition and the different ways to handle this malnutrition, and the second is lifestyle diseases, which is the result of adequate energy requirement which is not required on daily basis, but because of the lifestyle we are going to have, and even this energy is not followed by breakdown just because of the sedentary lifestyle. Right? So let me take here this first condition. Let me take here Gaurav Gupta, are you getting my reception properly? Jharkhand. So if you are able to get my video properly, a scheme was launched by a government of India. This is Poshan Abhiyan. This Poshan Abhiyan is also known as National Nutrition Mission. This was launched in 2018 February. This Poshan Abhiyan is to ensure sufficient nutrition. See here, this was launched in March 2018, and this here, look here, this mission is targeted to bring about stunting among the children in the age between 0 to 6 years from 38.4% to 25% by 2022. Right? Poshan Abhiyan aims to ensure service delivery and intervention by the use of technology, behavioral changes through convergence, and lays down a specific target to achieve across the different monitoring partners. And here the intention of this Poshan Abhiyan is to provide sufficient amount of nutrition, and as a result of providing sufficient amount of nutrition, this Poshan Abhiyan is basically targeted for Kuposhan Mukt Bharat by 2020. This is the objective of Poshan Abhiyan, Kuposhan Mukt Bharat. Kuposhan Mukt Bharat means, right, malnutrition free India by 2022. Fine, malnutrition free India by 2022. Fine. So this Abhiyan means this scheme, this mission targets to reduce stunting, undernutrition, anemia, especially among young children and the women and adolescent girls, to reduce low birth rate by 2%, 2%, 3% and 2% per annum respectively. Fine. This is the ultimate objective of this scheme. Fine. This is the ultimate objective of this scheme, and this scheme, the nodal ministry for to handle this scheme is what? It's a Ministry of Women and Child Welfare. Ministry of Women and Child Welfare is the nodal agency for the regulation of this scheme. So the Poshan Abhiyan means National Nutrition Mission was launched in 2018, and the intention is to subside nutrition in the various heads like undernutrition, anemia, stunting, reduce stunting and all. Fine, to certain extent by 2022, and the 2022 is considered as, right, malnutrition free India. That is in Hindi, this is mentioned as a Kuposhan Mukt Bharat, and the intention is what? Intention is to lowering down stunting growth, undernutrition, anemia, as well as the reduced low birth weight by 2%, 3% and the 2% per annum, means per year respectively, 2018 onwards till the 2022. Fine. So this is what? It's a Government of India scheme. 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 Right, and the intention of this scheme is what? To handle malnutrition, the problem related with the malnutrition on, right, country level, and just to handle this problem, this scheme was launched in 2018. Right, so that is the one aspect what we have discussed. Fine. So this is the one aspect. This is the one aspect of the discussion here. This is the one aspect of the discussion what we have mentioned here, just to handle this malnutrition problem. Fine. National Nutrition Mission was launched in 2018, and the objective of this National Nutrition Mission is what? Kuposhan Mukt Bharat by 2022. Right. The second one is, if the energy requirement is, means if you are going to consume more energy, what is required means more energy than what is required. So the result is what? It's a lifestyle disease. The result is lifestyle disease. The result is lifestyle disease. So listen, when we talk about this lifestyle disease. So this lifestyle disease here, obesity, blood pressure, diabetes, right? Obesity, blood pressure, diabetes. This is what? It's a measure heads of lifestyle disease, and here cause is foodie, habit, sedentary lifestyle, stress. Sedentary lifestyle and stress. This is the cause, major cause of the lifestyle diseases nowadays. And here there is no specific medication. There is no specific medication for all. Right? Specific medication means permanent medication. We don't have permanent medication for the obesity unless we should go for the physical, we should go for the physical activities, right? For the diabetes, we don't have permanent medication. And if you are trapped in diabetes, so in that case, we are supposed to be banked we are supposed to be bank upon the medication throughout the life. This is what it's and the medication is the insulin, either oral insulin or the insulin injection. Again, for the blood pressure, we don't have permanent medication. We need to reduce whether it is the high blood pressure, low blood pressure, and we are supposed to bank upon we are supposed to bank upon the medication for this. The point is that now in the last 30 years, we have seen the emerging trend of the lifestyle diseases, especially not in India, across the world. And if you see here, as per the data, 60 to 65% of the world population is prone to lifestyle diseases. 60 to 65% of the population is prone to the lifestyle disease is what we are talking about. The 60 to 65% of the world population, and this is just because of, it is mainly because of the food habit, just because of the food habit, because nowadays we are going to discuss about the food habit. Nowadays we are mainly banking about the fast food rather than the healthy foods, and the result is what? Result is the cholesterol, result is so many implications that we are going to discuss about. Fine. So this as a whole we are talking in a very simple manner, this lifestyle diseases, and here obesity is one of the major cause of the lifestyle. Fine. And here, how to check this obesity? If you want to check this obesity, so in that case we need to check BMI. We need to check BMI, and the BMI is the body. We need to check BMI. BMI is the basal metabolic rate. Right? It's a basal metabolic rate. And how this BMI is calculated? This BMI is calculated This BMI is calculated by weight in kilogram upon height square in meter. Yes, this is the right. This is the formula for calculation of the BMI. And if this value of the BMI is 20 to 25, that condition is normal. N means normal. If this value is 25 to 30, this is obesity level 1. If this value is 30 to 35, this is obesity level 2. If this value is 35 to 40, this is obesity level 3 or even more. Fine. So 30 to 35 obesity level 2, 25 to 30 obesity level 1, and 35 to 40 onwards, that is what? It's obesity level 3, and this leads to diabetes type 2. diabetes means blood sugar type 2. Blood sugar type 2 means blood sugar which is lifestyle. Blood sugar is because of the lifestyle. Blood sugar is because of the lifestyle. Right? Blood sugar is because of the life. And here, so listen, when we talk about this diabetes, this is type 1 and then type 2. So this type 2 is what? This type 2 is lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. While this type 1 is genetic. This type 1 is genetic. This type 1 is genetic. Right? And even this formula, see, if even this value is less than 18, if this value is less than 18, so that is the condition of malnutrition. This is the condition of malnutrition. That's the condition of malnutrition. So sometimes you could also see the same formula is written as a BMI. Yes, BMI and the BMR both are same. This BMI is used especially in the Slimming Center as a parameter. Fine, that is the body mass index, and technically this body mass index is banking upon, is completely dependent upon the metabolic rate. So the technical formula for this BMI is the BMR is the basal metabolic rate. Basal metabolic rate. So both are correct. Clear? BMI, body mass index, is used to calculate the additional amount of the fat in the body as a result of the weight calculation, while this BMR is basically it's a weight upon the height. So ultimately both are similar, means both are same. Ultimately both are the indicator of the lifestyle, and both are the indicator of the lifestyle, right from the normal lifestyle to the malnutrition to the obesity conditions. Right? So I hope you Roshan, this formula once again is what? It's a weight upon height. It's a weight upon height in meter. Weight upon height in meter. That is what here. Suppose if someone weight is 80 kg and someone height is 6 feet, means 1 upon 1.8 meter. So in that case, it's a 1.8 square meter. So this is what? It's a 80 upon 1.8 into 1.8, and just get across and you will be getting this. Yes, children can also suffer from the diabetes. So in that case, if anyone since birth, if the baby is going to have diabetes, so probably that diabetes is falling under the category of the type 1, that is the genetic, that is genetic diabetic. So the type 1, basically the children are falling in the category of type 1 diabetes. Usually, I am just talking about the usually. If any child is suffering from the diabetes, so primarily this category would be type 1 diabetes, means insulin, that is the gene is either inactive or partially inactive. So that category is the type 1 diabetes. And even across Namrata, I discussed this word metabolism so many times. We have discussed this word metabolism even in the photosynthesis, right? I talked about the catabolism and the metabolism. Fine. So please try to recall. So this is what diabetes is very common nowadays, especially in the newly born, and in that case, in fact, this diabetes is falling in the category of the type 1 diabetes. And even if you just try to get the percentage, means the ratio between the type 1 and the type 2. So out of 100, the 10% of the patients are falling in the category of the type 1 diabetes, means Genetic diabetes, that is diabetes because of the gene action, and the 90% of the patients are falling in the category of the type 2 diabetes, means diabetes as a result of the lifestyle. Diabetes as a result of the lifestyle. Right? Again, listen. Let me, Namrata, I told this, I discussed this word metabolism so many times, and even I told you metabolism consists of two different words. One is the catabolism, is the breakdown process, and the second is the anabolism. Right? So in the case of the plant, we have discussed about the word anabolism as a rate of as a process of photosynthesis, and in the case of plant, we have discussed about the respiration as a good example of the catabolism. So the word metabolism is technically used for the physiology. The word metabolism is technically used for the physiology, right? You are taking your food, and this food is followed by a digestion process, and then after digestion, this food is followed by the breakdown and energy generation. This is what? It's a simply metabolism. It's a simply metabolism. So metabolism is technically, it's a physiology. Metabolism is technically physiology, nothing else. No, it is, there is no difference. See. There is no difference between, is there any difference between the type 2 and type 1 and the type 2? Any other effect or the symptom? Not like that. In the case of, in both of the cases of the type 1 and type 2, ultimate effect is what? It's an insulin abnormality. It's an insulin abnormality, right? So, usually, type 1 is what? That is since birth. So since birth, there could be so many conditions. Like since birth, the baby body is not responding insulin, and the since birth, baby is completely injected by the insulin. In that case, in baby, insulin gene is completely inactive. There could be so many other possibilities, like the gene is 10% active, gene is 20% active, gene is 50% active, gene is 60% active. In that case, we are supposed to, right, short insulin. We are supposed to provide insulin as per the activity of the gene. Means, this much of the insulin is body is responding this much of insulin, and that much of insulin is not sufficient enough for the breakdown of the glucose. In that case, we should go for the insulin as a supplement, right? But I am okay with this stage of the life, and I never suffered from the diabetes, and suddenly after a couple of years, if I am going to be trapped in the diabetes, so I was born as a normal child, right? I was brought up as a normal child, and I maintained, as long as I maintained my physiology, I was normal. And then I turned my physiology from the active lifestyle to the sedentary lifestyle. In that case, what happened? In my body, insulin is there. But because of the resistance of the fatty tissues, these insulins are not able to be active against sugar. So this is what here, your body itself is created resistance against your own insulin, So your body is responding insulin. Your body, the lifestyle condition is what? Your body is responding insulin. But because of the resistance in your body, and that resistance is what? It's a adipose layer, fatty layer, and because of the resistance due to the adipose layer, the fatty layer, your body is not able to consume your own insulin. So in that case, we are supposed to take insulin from the external sources to ensure the breakdown of the sugar. So in the first case of the type 2, either there is an insulin shortage, or there is a insulin is either absent or insulin is in the shortest amount. But in the second case, even insulin is there, but your body is not able to consume this insulin just because of the resistance there, and that resistance is what? It's a fatty layer in your body, right? So that is the basic difference between type 1 and type 2, right? And even, listen, these are it's not a thumb rule. Means what we have mentioned here, it's not a thumb rule. Means these are the generalized aspect of the values. These are the generalized values. These are generalized values. So if somewhere, if you are going to see this value is, apart from the 20 to 25, if you are going to hear the value is 18 to 23. So you feel like I was told by sir, as per the sir, this value is 20 to 25. But here somewhere I am going to see this value is 18 to 23. So both values are correct, because there is no thumb rule, means these values are not used as a universal values, right? So plus minus 10% variation could be possible, right? Plus minus 10% variation could be possible. So somewhere this malnutrition value is written as less than 18, clear? Somewhere this malnutrition value is written as 15, like example, if we talk about malnutrition in the case of developing children, this value is less than 15 or 10, because in the case of developing children, because of growth and development, the food oxidation and consumption is faster. So in that case, if they are not able to get that much of food, so definitely what happened? The basal metabolic rate will decrease. But in the case of adult, where the growth is already been done, so consumption, and even the consumption is less. So that less consumption is not going to show that value of BMR, because here the lifestyle is sedentary. So probably in the case of children, this value could be less than 10, but in the case of adult, someone is just trying to maintain the zero figure and he or she is not willing to take food. So in that case, even in that case, if someone is going to maintain the zero figure, so and even the BMI is falling less than 18 or 15, so that is not a zero figure. Somewhere, he or she must be suffering from the malnutrition, and that malnutrition will going to affect you in a different heads. Means that could be the vitamin deficiencies, that could be the mineral deficiency, or that could be the protein deficiencies. Fine. So you cannot justify. You feel like I am slim, but even you don't know, you have compromised for the slimming condition, and that compromising is what? Somewhere you have compromised your protein content, somewhere you have compromised your vitamin content, somewhere you have compromised your mineral component, and that is going to reflect you, that is going to affect you in the long run. Right. So listen, here when we talk about, and listen, even see, suppose if your internet speed is slow and you are trying to access this class on SD mode, so in that case you will not able to get this video properly. So please, this is your option. Means in your system you must have this option for the adjustment of the video quality. That is this adjustment of the video quality as at the user's end, not at the relaying end. So I don't have this option. Right, that option is only at the user's end, means you are getting reception. So you please just try to adjust the quality of your video as per the internet speed. So yes, Shreya, I am coming to this. The Shreya is asking about, yes, I am just coming to this. Remember, I just told you questions. I am just coming to this. The PCOD is also the cause of diabetes, this polycystic ovarian disease. Listen, what we have mentioned here, listen here, the word we have mentioned here, this is stress. The one word we have mentioned here, that is what? It's a stress and the sedentary lifestyle. So these two are technical words. And these two technical words are going to include so many conditions. Like, see, this stress is because of the abnormality of the hormones. Stress is because of the abnormality of the hormones, right? And even probably in the tomorrow's lecture, I am going to discuss about the hormones. I will let you know the process of digestion is supported by thyroid hormone. The process of digestion is supported by thyroid hormone, right? So thyroid also plays important role in this lifestyle, right? And see, especially if someone is suffering from the thyroid abnormality, in that case, there could be the chance of diabetes or even the lifestyle disease as a result of the abnormality of the thyroid, right? The stress condition is also, this is stress condition that also leads to the abnormality of the hormones. And if, right, your body is suffering from the hormonal abnormalities, so that will also impact. The insulin is also hormone, right? So that stress condition will impact your insulin, and that is also going to affect. So now this time we have simply mentioned everything what the people are asking about, right? In the two heads, one is the sedentary lifestyle and the second is the stress condition. But in fact, suppose if you are going to elaborate these two terms, that make a great sense of so many conditions, like there could be the thyroid abnormality, there could be the PCOD, means polycystic ovarian disease, in the case of female is also the cause of diabetes, right? Fine. So these are the conditions. I conveyed the information to the support team Siddhant and they are working on that. Fine. Yes, Shreya, I hope you got your answer. Vidisha, those students who are vulnerable to type 1 diabetes but did not inherit it at the birth are at any more risk of being diagnosed with the type 2 diabetes than others. See what happened. Listen, even it is not possible to trace whether the children, they are suffering from the diabetes type 1 or not. See what happened. So the first condition, even I told you. Now, someone miss child after birth is diagnosed with diabetes. How child is diagnosed with diabetes? Because the body is not responding insulin. In that case, the condition of what gene is completely inactive. The gene for insulin is completely inactive, and the gene for insulin is completely inactive means since birth, this baby is going to have diabetes, and every time this baby must be injected with the insulin shot. Is the one condition, right? Even maybe after a couple of years, the baby lifestyle is normal. But even we are going to find out baby starts suffering from the diabetes. In that condition is what? Right? Initially, the gene action was up to the mark. Means it was not 100%. It was 30-40%. Means the gene was quite inactive. Gene was not active to that extent. Gene was active to 30-40-50%. But that insulin was quite enough. To justify the growth and development till the age of couple of the years. But see here, after the age of 10, somewhere between the 10 to 16, 17, 18, right here, this particular period of the life is witness of the maximum growth. So if the growth is maximum, it means now that period shows maximum metabolism, and in that case your body is flooded with maximum hormone, and that is the particular period your body must be responded with the particular hormone, and insulin is hormone. So in that case, if that gene that was earlier showing 50% of the efficiency, now the 50% of the efficiency is the same gene is going to express 50% of the efficiency. Right? In that case, that 50% insulin is not competent enough to provide conditions for the breakdown of the glucose. In that case, we are supposed to take insulin from the external source, right? As a form of the insulin shot. So sometimes what happens, even in the initial condition, we are not able to track whether that child is suffering from the diabetes or not, right? That we are going to be tracked. Once the child is falling under the proper condition of the growth development, then we are going to justify whether this child is completely suffering from the diabetes or not. So that is what it's the first condition of the diabetes. But even the child born with the normal conditions and everything is all right, something happened, and then child started suffering from the abnormality of the hormone inside. That could be because of n number of conditions. So in that condition, there could be the chance of diabetes type 2. So basically, diabetes type 2 is, apart from the lifestyle, apart from the obesity, right? The major cause of type 2 diabetes means the lifestyle diabetes is what? It's a stress condition, and that stress leads to abnormality of the hormone, and this abnormality of the hormone nowadays is the major cause of diabetes. That is, means आप देखो कि out of the 165% of the population is prone to the diabetes, just because of what? Because everyone is living in the stress conditions. So the stress condition is impacting you, and impacting you means impacting your metabolism, and impacting your metabolism is what? The sugar breakdown is also the part of metabolism, and if your body is not responding properly in the term of sugar metabolism, so somewhere what happened? The sugar starts accumulating in the body, and that is going to be impact your vital body parts in the time of diabetes. As simple as that. Prashant, in the gene therapy, I told you in the gene therapy, the ultimate purpose of the gene therapy means when we talk about the future endeavor of the gene therapy. The future endeavor of the gene therapy is what? Just trying to develop the permanent medication of so many permanent medication for so many diseases for which we don't have, the permanent medication nowadays. Like, see, the future endeavor of the gene therapy would be, diabetes. The future endeavor of the gene therapy would be what? It's a Parkinson's. The future endeavor of the gene therapy would be what? It's a thalassemia. So really, this gene therapy is boon for everyone. Why? Because with the help of gene therapy, probably we are going to solve, right, the permanent medication for so many diseases, for those diseases we don't have permanent medication. Probably with the help of gene therapy, we are going to find out the permanent medication. So as of now, we don't have medication, but that could be possibly in the near future. That we are working upon that. Okay? So listen, here, coming to this discussion here. Fine. And Prashant, I will take your question. I will take your question later. Fine. Just hold. Somewhere in the mid part of the discussion, I will take your question because that is related with metabolism that we are going to proceed further. So listen, when we talk about this food, so this what we have discussed about the energy, and when we talk about this food, let me take this food. So this food, we have so many categories. One is food for regulation. The food for regulation. Second is structural food. And the third is food for energy. The food for regulation. The food for regulation. Here, minerals or vitamins. These two are regulators. Structural food means the structural food. Here, the food for the structure, the entire structure is what? It's a protein. So the build is technically protein. Clear? Build is technically protein. And the food for energy. Here we have fat and carbohydrate. So the food for regulator here deficiency leads to malnutrition. deficiency leads to malnutrition, right? Deficiency leads to malnutrition and diseases. But when we talk about this energetic food means fat and carbohydrate. So here, this, deficiency leads to what? Deficiency leads to less energetic condition. So the fat and carbohydrate, in the absence of the fat and carbohydrate, so the only condition would be what? We should suffer from less energetic conditions. Fine, but in the state of the protein deficiency and in the state of the mineral and the vitamin deficiency, right, we are going to suffer from a number of deficiency symptoms that we are going to elaborate one by one. Yes. So let me take here this regulation, food for the regulation, and here the vitamin and the minerals clear. And here the difference between the vitamin and the mineral is what? And the difference between the vitamin and the mineral is what? And the difference between the vitamin and the mineral is here. Vitamin is inorganic in nature. Mineral is inorganic in nature, while vitamin is organic in nature. Vitamin is organic in nature. Fine, okay. So let me take few examples. Like see here, I have shared a list of the vitamins and minerals to everyone. But listen, I am just mentioning here, like here, the important minerals are calcium for bone and muscle movement. Yes. Iodine for thyroid gland. Yes. Iron for hemoglobin. Right. Sodium and potassium for electrolyte pumping, and this electrolyte pumping is required where? In kidney, in brain, zinc, copper, especially RBC or DNA formations. Yes. So these are few examples that we have mentioned, and even I have shared a list of minerals, in your PPTs. So these are few examples we have mentioned here. Even see one more example, classical example. One more classical example I am mentioning here. Phosphorus, where? In DNA. Right, in DNA, we have discussed about H3PO4. This is what? It's a phosphoric acid. It's a phosphoric acid. So here the phosphorus plays important role in DNA. Yes? Right? So see here, it's a list of minerals I have shared. This list is already been shared. This list is already been shared to everyone. Yes, and here's the function we have mentioned here, and the food sources are also mentioned here. And minerals are inorganic in nature. Fine, so here in a brief, this is what? It's a brief discussion of the chart, brief discussion of that chart which already I have shared. It's a brief discussion of the chart which already I have shared. Yes? Right? Can we go ahead? Again, if you talk about the vitamins, see here, vitamins, this 50 is already been shared. The vitamins are organic in nature and they are found in the natural food and they are required for the growth and development and the maintenance of the body in both human and animals. In both human and animals, right? And we have two categories of vitamins. See here, one is fat soluble vitamins. The fat soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E and K. These vitamins are stored in fat cells. Fat cells. Yeah? All these vitamins are required, fat, in order to be absorbed. While the second is the water soluble. And the water soluble vitamins are not stored in the body as its excess gets excreted through the urine. And these are vitamin B and vitamin C, water soluble. So these vitamins need to be replenished constantly. And see here, the best source of the vitamin C is what? It's a lemon water. It's a lemon water. The best source of the vitamin C is what? It's a amla. Yes, the best source of the vitamin C is the citrus fruits. And we need to replenish our body at least one glass of the lemon juice that we need on daily basis, and the intention is what? Just to provide sufficiency of the vitamin C, because this vitamin C is also antioxidant, and we have discussed about the antioxidant, and this vitamin C also plays important role for the strengthening of the immunity, So nowadays we are talking about the strengthening of the internal immunity. And for the strengthening of internal immunity, fine, vitamin C is required as a good source. Fine, and if you go to the market and ask for the vitamin C, so the lemon in Delhi, the lemon cost around 200 rupees per kg. Yes, the amla is costing around 200 rupees per kg, and it is just because of the demand and supply. As simple as that. Okay, right? Okay, right. So I am just elaborating this table is already been there with you. This vitamin A is retinol, and this retinol is basically required for the vision. There are so many functions, but we need to consider only the major function, and here the vision. And the deficiency leads to blindness, especially night blindness. And the food source is what? It's the egg, fortified milk, or the liver, or even carrot. Means yellow fruits and vegetables. D is calciferol. It is required for the bone growth and maintenance and absorption of the calcium. and the deficiency leads to ricket and the osteomalacia. And the source is what? It's a sunlight, fortified milk, yes, fish, egg, liver, etc. Vitamin E, tocopherol, it's a antioxidant required, means deficiency leads to red blood corpuscles breakage, and the source is what? It's a vegetable, seed nut oil, etc. Vitamin K, phylloquinone, is required for the blood clotting, and the deficiency leads to hemorrhage, means anemic conditions, means blood loss. Yes, and whole grain or enriched grain food product, grain product. Vitamin, this is the A, D, E, K. These are fat soluble. These are the fat soluble first category. Vitamin B is a B complex. So vitamin B1 is the thiamine. Is required for energy metabolism. Deficiency is white berry. Yes, B2 riboflavin. That is inflammation of the mouth and skin. B3 niacin, pellagra. Yes, pellagra. Only we need to consider only the deficient symptoms. Apart from this, it is not